what's strange? After WrestleMania this year, the Authors of Pain were called up to Raw. They had a couple of matches over a couple of consecutive weeks. They built up some jobbers, and then one day they just vanished, even though they had dismissed their manager Paul Ellering. Which is even stranger, because they're two massive dudes, and WWE loves massive dudes. But yeah, poof, gone. It's gotten so ridiculous that you may have even forgotten about the fact they did get called up, because literally, one day they were there, and before they had a chance to establish themselves, they had vanished. What's that about? What was the plan here? The reason for all of this as well is the same reason it's always been, but right now, you ain't seeing the Authors of Pain on Raw. Why? Here's why. Without wanting to throw the conclusion out there too early, the answer is simply this. Vince McMahon. There's been a lot of rumours and hearsay for years that Vince McMahon doesn't like tag team wrestling, and now I think we've got enough evidence to suggest that no, Vince McMahon does not enjoy or like tag team wrestling. If nothing else, there's been loads of storyline and angles over the last 3 decades where we have taken tag teams and storylines and angles and we've just run them into the ground just because some dude in a suit doesn't like it when wrestlers pair up to slap each other's hands. And even right now as I say these words, I can throw loads of stuff at you to make you go, huh, I think he's right. Look at the Raw Tag Team Champions, Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. Sometimes they don't appear on the show. When they do, they have nothing matches. And really, they've done nothing of note since they won those titles at WrestleMania 34. Then there's The Bar. They had no opponents at the same show because we couldn't find anybody. So we all just decided, oh, we'll just throw Braun Strowman in there. And he doesn't even need to get a partner. He can team with a 10-year-old called Nicholas, and then Nicholas retired because he had to go back to school. The Bludgeon Brothers have also started to stutter since they won the titles. The Revival basically don't exist anymore, and Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler are only together, so eventually Drew McIntyre can turn on Dolph and start his singles run. That don't sound like a very healthy tag team division to me. Oh, and yeah, then there's American Alpha, 2 of the greatest wrestlers we've seen in years. We didn't do anything with them. I could go on and on as well because this stuff happens all the time. For example, if we go a little bit back in history, do you remember when we made Juice and Domino tag team champs for 150 days? And yeah, it's better now, but that's like saying it's better to eat a mouldy apple than one that's full of maggots. Ultimately, you just want a nice fresh apple that tastes good, and I just want a nice fresh tag team division that tastes good. I would like to eat the tag team division. It also flies in the face of what we've been told about NXT since day one. Triple H has said over and over again that no one is going to get called up unless they have a long-term plan. So you telling me the long-term plan for the Authors of Pain were, well, we can put them on Raw, they can hang around for a couple of weeks, and then they can just leave. That sounds real good. And if that was the plan, here's a spoiler for you. That is a terrible, terrible plan. Everybody's gone crazy. It makes no sense either because the tag team division should be used as a way to change the pacing of your show. It may sound a bit dumb and a bit redundant, but it's true. Visually, that's the first thing you see. So if all of a sudden I'm seeing 4 guys as opposed to 2 guys, maybe my interest in whatever I'm watching will all of a sudden pick up. Also, it's fun. When I think back to my childhood, I remember the likes of the Legion of Doom, the Nasty Boys, the Rockers, the Hart Foundation. These are legendary teams that went on to achieve legendary things, and there's no one really in 2018 that feels like those guys did. Even then, you can argue that some of these were just a means to an end too. I mean, look at the Hart Foundation and look at the Rockers. Ultimately, what was the plan there? Well, it was to send Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels off onto singles careers. And it wasn't so bad back in that era because at least when they were together, they felt like a proper team, and also nobody was just vanishing. I'm going to use that word a lot. If you appear on one Monday night and then don't appear on the following Monday night and no one says anything, you have vanished. We should probably be putting posters up saying you've gone missing. All this seems a bit strange too, because we do look at the Attitude Era when the business was more successful than ever. A large reason for that was teams, or at least groups, because we had the NWO and we had D-Generation X. They really did help change the business, but once again, that's the issue here. Sometimes we seem to look back in the past and just ignore what was successful. I mean, come on, let's take Roman Reigns. We've all said this. If we took the template of The Rock when he tried to be a good guy, didn't work, turned him heel, and then became one of the best good guys ever, why isn't someone backstage going, maybe we should do that with Roman Reigns? But we don't. And also, we don't look at the success of a tag team division and go, maybe we should try and take the tag teams if they were successful. In fact, when you think about it like that, it doesn't bode well for the tag team division at all, because they ain't going to do it with the big dog. they damn sure ain't gonna do it with anybody else that technically in the hierarchy is beneath him. It's a real shame too, because I love tag team wrestling. When it's done right, it's absolutely amazing to watch. Again, if we go back to NXT, think of all the things they did with DIY. And I know, I get it. Eventually that did lead to those two breaking up and having an amazing feud, but it didn't matter because when they were together, we all gave a massive shit. Down there, teams are teams and they really care about the tag team titles. Remember that match between DIY and the Revival? How much did you care? How much did you buy into that? Of course you did, because you believed in what you were seeing, and that's all wrestling is. It was considered by some as the best match of that year. And when was the last time that happened on the main roster, which is where it really should be happening? Exactly, change things up, be varied, be diverse. That's what we need. It also opens up more questions to the future, because look at the Young Bucks. Do the Young Bucks really want to go to the WWE when there's every chance they just fall into the abyss? Vince McMahon probably doesn't know how successful they are. He'll just see them as a pairing, and as we just established, he lets pairings fall into the ground. He'll dilute them so quickly, he couldn't even help himself when it came to Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley hasn't even been back 3 months, and it feels like he's been in the company for the last 200 years. All his magic, all his specialness is gone, and McMahon cares about single stars, but just imagine what he's going to do elsewhere. Wrestling is all about changing things up, and that's where the tag teams come into their own. You don't just have to overly rely on stipulation matches or, I don't know, dance-offs. And you may laugh and roll your eyes and go, huh, when was the last time we saw a dance-off? As I'm saying these words, 24 hours ago, we had a dance-off. It does just feel like half the time tag matches only exist because they have to. And look at all the titles, be that on SmackDown or Raw. They just feel like pieces of tin. They shouldn't feel like pieces of tin. They're like a prize, a goal, a target, the dream come true. So yeah, I'm sure at some point the AOP are going to return and start laying waste to falls. But right now, it ain't good, especially because this is the occasion where they should be showing people who don't know them from NXT who they are and why they're so good. You got to be cementing your act, not turning up on main event. And really, it don't matter if they're on main event because nobody watches main event. However, I know about main event. As a wrestling nerd, it makes me upset, clearly, because I've just ranted at you for the last 5 minutes. Basically, I want good teams and I want them on the biggest stage possible. Right now that's Raw and right now that's SmackDown. It is not main event. What's going on? That is why, though, Vince doesn't like tag team wrestling, or at least so it seems. He probably thinks it's too southern or too WCW, which I know is strange because that died about 20 years ago. But yeah, he wants to focus on the individual. He wants to focus on making stars, and apparently you can't do that if there's two of you. Absolutely illogical. I love tag team wrestling. Bring back tag team wrestling. I look forward to that never happening, or hopefully being proven wrong. We just have to wait and see. And crying though, on the inside, not on the outside, but on the inside, there's tears. Now don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about the state of tag team wrestling in the WWE. Like, share and subscribe. And over to whatculture.com, read yourself some articles and follow What Culture on Twitter at What Culture WWE. My name is Simon Miller, this was What Culture, and remember, go get in touch with the WWE and remind them how good tag team wrestling is. I'm sure if we bombard them with tweets and leave YouTube comments, they'll definitely listen to us. It's 2018, and what is social media for, if not for moaning? I'll see you soon.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe below, and if you're looking for more content like this, then try a few things that are floating about around my ears. Might be fun. I can't promise it though, but it might be.